Well. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, no matter where you're watching this from. Welcome to Breakthrough with Jeff. This is where we say we live life with zero limits, no limits. This life is made to be lived to the fullest of your potential, to full capacity. There's no holding back. Remove the limits, unleash your power, and become the person you were created to be. So today we are looking at, again, relationships, and very interesting topic, maybe a topic that some of us are totally unconscious about, and may not even know that they are going through what we're talking about today: emotional abuse. This could be a relationship with perhaps your parents, a relationship, an intimate relationship. I realize one of the key sources of unhappiness in life with the people that I have come to help is actually this emotional abuse. So I'll give you some signs so that you're sure, okay, when you're becoming maybe emotionally abusive to someone, and also when you yourself are being emotionally abused. Number one, how do you know you are in an emotionally abusive relationship? Okay, so when someone becomes overly critical to you, overly critical, that they are not focusing on really addressing issues. They are focusing on being overly critical towards you. So everything is criticized. There's something wrong with everything. And they prick that nerve of criticizing every effort and everything that you're doing. Then that is a sign of an abusive, emotionally abusive person. And because there is no physical abuse, some of us, we take in this. It's easy for you to just be there. Then your esteem goes down and down and down every time they make a comment about you, about anything that you are doing, about any assignment that you're doing, and this affects other areas of life. Your career you begin to have low self-esteem, and you begin to come from a place of lack of energy and psyche in life, because there's this person you've given your heart and given them that authority to make these comments about you. And when the comments are overly critical, then you cannot talk about love in that situation. That's not true love. And you need to address that. You need to be strong enough. Where there is true love, there is truth. That's how we talk about true love. There is truth. We can tell each other the truth. And so when it's overly critical, for no reason, everything is negative towards you, then it's not just about correcting you. And when it's not just about correction. This is just about you as a person. So the person is being overly critical, towards you. Then this is an abusive relationship. And this is both for male and female. I mean, we used to think only men, can be abusive emotionally to women, but there are women that are overly abusive. And I'll be sharing other signs that especially women use to actually abuse their men. And you see, someone may be strong at work, you are a giant at work, you are the lion, commander-in-chief, but when you go home, you are chicken because of emotional abuse. And so you lower yourself. You lose your authority as a father. You lose your authority as a husband because you've actually been beaten down emotionally. Let me tell you, if you're in a relationship where you really love this person, because I'm not blaming you, These things, we learned them as we were growing up. Remember, I shared about the eagle that was the eagle egg that grew up, with chicken, and the lion that grew up with sheep. And it's our environment that creates the person we are today. So I'm not blaming you. I tell you, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. So you cannot blame it on anyone. It's 100% your responsibility. Now, if you've grown up being critical, criticized in an environment where you are criticized for everything, of course, you learn to criticize other people. So broken people learn to break other people. It's easy to break people because you're broken yourself. And so I'm not blaming you. So, but be aware of these issues, so that sometimes when you feel you're not enough, you're not complete, something is missing, you know where it's coming from. It's coming from a base of emotional abuse. And some of us, we have been so emotionally abused, we believe this is the way life is supposed to be. We've owned the story of emotional abuse. The other thing, apart from being overly critical, is emotional abuse also come at a time when our partners or people we are relating to become overly moody for no reasons. For no reason, someone, and that is manipulative tactics. Someone just becomes overly moody. And let me tell you, there are even parents who are emotionally abusive to their children. For no reason, you just become moody parent. And you want your kids to read your mind, what it is you're thinking. You want your spouse to read your mind, what it is that you are thinking. So you don't communicate, but you just become overly moody for no reason, and you're not communicating. This is emotional abuse. Wake up. And some of these people are parents, they're people with kids, there are people, with teenagers. I mean, man up, grow up, communicate what it is that you're communicating. You don't have to manipulate. That is a tool for weak people. Don't manipulate, communicate, share, say I'm not okay with this. Hello? You see, so the child is left in a corner somewhere guessing what's wrong with you. No, they don't guess what's wrong with them. In fact, they guess what's wrong with them. And that's how we are raising up a generation that is so afraid, that is so weak emotionally, because we have these environments that just press people down. Manipulation through moodiness. You're just moody. Couples also use this tool of being overly moody to each other. You just want to communicate something, but because you're not strong enough to communicate it, you just become emotionally moody. You blow up like a balloon and stay there. And you say, they will read me. They will read me. They will know something is wrong with me. No, come on, grow up. Just communicate. Say what it is that needs to be said. Be ready to have difficult conversation. This is what love is about. Love is about the ability to sit with that difficult conversation and actually go through it with someone you love. Love is labor. Love sometimes can be painful. Love is not just pleasing people. Love is truth. Love is stepping into your truth. And so if you're not able to handle the truth, you're not ready for love. If you're not able to communicate the truth, you're not ready for love. Stay home, go back to school, go to high school, go and learn about love. Love is a school. And so these things I'm saying because they're so common and they're so subtle. Some of us don't know we are even emotionally abused, because it's okay. I mean, if you're emotionally abused through, toxic parenting, and now you're in a toxic relationship, how will you know the truth? You just take it as the truth and life continues, because you don't know better. You will not, claim better. Okay, let's go to a third one. What else? And I want you to share with me, what else do you think is a sign that someone is emotionally abusive? Or what is the sign that you are becoming emotionally abusive in your relationship? Let me know. But one more thing is when a relationship, when we begin to dismiss each other's emotions, feelings, we begin to dismiss them. Like you don't care about what the other person feels. Your emotions are dismissed. The other person just finds it easy to dismiss your emotions. Then that is becoming a relationship that is emotionally abusive. Your emotions are dismissed. But also, there's a catch there, catch 22. When also you demand for your emotions, to be approved. When you have a need for approval, then also that itself can be toxic. And so what we are talking about here is emotional maturity. When you're not really demanding attention, but you're not allowing yourself to be stepped on. Yes, when there is insecurity. Yes, thank you, Rogers. When you become insecure, that's something else that brings emotional, abuse. If you're dealing with someone that is insecure, I'm telling you, this journey of love will be so difficult. And remember, they're treating you that way because themselves they were treated that way. I don't think human beings are really just don't mean well for you when they are into that relationship. It's because they are abused. That person is broken. They are going through something. They have gone through a journey of emotional abuse themselves. Broken people break people. And so, especially, what Rogers is saying down there, when you're dealing with insecure person, oh my God, you will not breathe. Because when you're breathing, they think you're taking their oxygen. So they think when I bring you down, I'm up. And, relationship is not the place for that battle. Hello, go shine somewhere. Meet your need for security elsewhere. Write a book, start something, become significant elsewhere. Because that's a need you're meeting by putting someone you love down. And I know you don't mean this. You don't want it. It's not that this is something you want. It's something that you find yourself doing because of the programming, your past programming. Another sign is when someone is overly anxious all the time. They are overly anxious. When you're in a relationship with someone that is always overly anxious, and then they blame it on you because you're a powerful person, because you're a grounded person. That's abusive. They need to deal with their issues. They need to deal with their anxiety and not have to use it on you. You deserve the best. Claim it. Claim it. And you claim it by coming from a place of love yourself. This is also manipulative. When someone is always anxious in the relationship, they are not secure in themselves. So if you're not secure in yourself, why are you in a relationship? Get your things together. Get your business together fast before you get into this relationship. Hello? Let's not bring, these issues into relationships. I know we are growing through, but get help. There's help everywhere. There are coaches, psychologists, people you can see, friends who, some of us are not even ready for feedback. You give someone feedback and they take it personal because they're not ready. They want your advice, but they're not ready for feedback. Okay, so they're asking, what can I do? When you tell them, they leave you, they dump you because they were not ready for that. And this is how you know, okay, so what are the healthy relationships? What are the healthy signs of a healthy relationship? And what are the signs of an abusive relationship? When you know you're in one, heal. Find time to heal. Find time to clean up that negative energy. Okay, another common thing, yes, something else that is common is passive aggression. Now people that they know, and if you're in a relationship, especially you're a couple, you're married, you know when someone has an issue, and you know when you have an issue, but then you don't communicate, so you become passively aggressive, and you're drawing attention. It's a sign of lack of power. It's a sign of powerlessness. Find your grounding, find yourself, discover who you are. It's because you don't know who you are. That's why you're manipulating the other person, torturing them for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You're torturing someone's daughter, someone's son, just because you don't want to deal with your past programming issues. Let's take personal responsibilities on these things that we went through, on these emotional wounds that we went through. So we don't move from one relationship to another and think, oh, it's about this other person, when actually it's about you. Take responsibility. Can you imagine if in a relationship everyone takes responsibility? And responsibility is actually made of two words, response and ability. So that means you believe you have the ability to respond to the situation you find yourself in. So you're not blaming anyone. You have the ability to respond to that situation. And this is not too hard for you to have a conversation. That is a difficult conversation. I think one qualification to falling in love should be having difficult conversation. Now, making things worse are parents who cannot have difficult conversation with their kids. I've seen parents who are afraid of their children. They cannot have a difficult conversation, especially fathers. We are losing a generation. I mean, you are the dad. You are the father of that kid. Sit them down. Ask them, are you okay? Can we talk? Have the difficult conversation. And because nowadays kids really can speak their mind, and you are trained to keep quiet, because since 4 years you are shut up, you're told keep quiet, who is talking? And then you went to class and there's a monitor there looking for the people who are speaking and writing, the noise makers. So you learn to keep quiet. You don't want to be a noise maker. Now you are a father and you're still keeping quiet. Speak up. Save your family, save your relationship, save a nation, because that person will grow up a weak, emotionally weak person. Then they will get into a CEO position. That company is going down because someone never dealt with their issue. This is what happens when we deal with our own personal issue. We're actually saving a generation. This is how we contribute to our generation. By looking at what are these emotional issues that I went through that can potentially affect the people I love. Because silent treatment and being silent on issues that need to be addressed, this world is destroyed more by good people that keep quiet, when things need to be addressed. So step out, train yourself to have that difficult conversation. Be honest. Tell them that this is challenging for you, but you cannot allow it to pass. You want to talk about it. Can we talk? If not today, when can we talk? That is personal leadership. But this silent treatment is emotionally abusive and is destroying our generation. And so it takes you and it takes me to show up in our relationship, tell ourselves the truth. Be ready for truthful feedback, because some of us are not. Go to organizations. The boss says, oh, here, this is, we are simple, transparent, and honest, But then when you're honest, simple, and transparent to the boss, you're fired because they are not strong enough. They are not emotionally strong. I mean, we need emotional intelligence training in some of these organizations. But we have to train ourselves first. We have to train ourselves first. Emotional mastery is really a key to your success, whether in your organization, in your relationships, in everything that you do. If you grow and mature emotionally, your relationships will be better. You will not be stepped on, you will not be abused, you will not have a raw deal. Because some of us, our relationship is totally raw deal. It's not. Some of us will die without knowing what it means to be in love, true love, where there's no judgment, there is truth, there is feedback, but there's no judgment, there's no poisoned criticism. It's just feedback, because out of love for this person, you want to give them feedback. But most of our feedback is poisoned feedback. It's because of our own personal interest that we want to give feedback to the other person. So it doesn't even help anyone. It's because it's poison. It's toxic relationship, okay? So tell me, how do you deal with this? How do you deal? Good morning, Glory. Good to see you from Nigeria. Welcome to the show. Good to see you. Tell me, how do you handle emotionally abusive relationship, and what are some of the signs that you can help someone know they are in an abusive relationship? I want to know. Please type down there. Let me know if you have any questions on toxic relationships, whether parenting, intimate relationship. Let me know. Just type it there. Let's help each other. Let's talk. So another, as I wait for you to type down there, another issue that really brings about emotional abuse in relationship is, when someone is emotionally absent. You're not really there. You're there, but you're not there. Emotionally, you're absent. And again, I'll go back to men, and I have nothing, against men. I'm one. Men can be emotionally absent and you're there. Do you know one of the biggest need for a lady is to be seen and to be heard? That's the number one need. The number one need for a man is to be respected. It's not to be seen, it's to be respected. And if you're a man and your number one need is to be seen, maybe you need to watch your energy. Maybe you're more of feminine than masculine, which is possibly a possibility. So emotionally present, when you're listening to someone, you're there, you're present. And I think some of these gadgets, social media stuff has trained us to be everywhere. And the idea of multitasking has actually trained our minds badly, that you cannot be present 100%. Do you know how that feels? Many people don't, because no one has ever given them 100% attention. 100%. When you're there, you're present. You're there 100% emotionally. You can look at this person straight in their eyes and you're present with them. You can hear them. You can hear the beating of their soul. You can hear the beating of their heart. Can you go to that level? Can you play at that level? If your partner can play on that level, that's a good question. But can you play on that level yourself? Because if you can be that person that is, when you're talking about something, when the other person is talking, you drop everything. You drop everything and be present with them. Be present with them. And you have an issue, say it. If you think there's something that is more important than what is being discussed, communicate. Can we talk about this first? I know this is important to you, but is it possible to talk about this? Maybe they'll come and say, yeah, I hear you, but can we talk about it next time, or can we prioritize this? There's agreement. If two cannot agree, two cannot walk together. And I know there are many relationships that are fallen off, not because it was time to go, it was time to end, but because of lack of presence. And there are people that will die without knowing how to be present with someone. How do you become present with someone? Now, you cannot be present with someone when you don't know how to be present with yourself. Learn to be present. Can you be aware of where you are right now? Awareness of where you are. Can you listen to a place you can hear, the cry of your soul, where you want to go, where you want to be, your dreams and goals? Can you hear your voice from within? Then you can hear someone else's voice. Because sometimes what people are telling you is not what they mean, especially if you're dealing with a woman. Sometimes women, you need to listen deeply to really hear the truth. When they tell you something, sometimes they'll mean something else. So you need to really be present to raise the real issue, because that's what it means to love someone. You love someone in the way that God created them. Don't love a woman like a man. Don't love a man like a woman. Understand that women and men are different. They have different, priorities, different ways of being, of interacting. Don't love your man like a woman should be loved. Don't love your woman like a man should be loved. Don't relate to a woman like a man. Don't relate to a woman like one of your boys. Yeah, sup. And shallow, you just, no, go deep, be present, show your presence, listen to them, hear what is not being said. Because most of what women are telling you is in between the lines. And you're there to read in between the lines. Now, if you're not willing to do that, your ego doesn't allow you to do that, you're not ready for love. Ng'ang'ana na hali yako. Just stay hard. Kaa ngumu. That's what we say. Love is not your thing. Just find someone to help you fast, to break that ego. Because love is really for people that are willing to give each other, give and take. It's a give and take. This is it's not a high school class. This is a master's class. Love is a master's class. But if you're just testing each other, you're in this school of testing each other, throwing this and that, testing, does she love, does he? No, you're not ready to be enrolled in this class. Graduate fast, yourself individually, get things yourself together, get help. The last thing that I will share on is people that get into your space. It's actually emotional abuse. They get into they love you so much to give you personal space. Yani, mtu anakupenda, you have no space. You can't breathe. They are on you. They are everywhere, on your face. That is emotional abuse. Love someone enough to give them their own space. That's how you know you love someone. You can give them their own space to breathe. Who are you talking? Who is that? Who is the? Can I see your phone? That there is no space. There's no personal space and freedom. And that is a sign of insecurity, like Rogers told us this morning. It's a sign of insecurity. You are insecure. People are secure. First, they trust the people they're in relationship with. There's a sense of trust. You trust that person. So you're not always following up on the little things. Oh, what did you do? How did you eat? You mean you are smiling? With who? Okay, how? Okay, tell me more. No, come on, relax. Deal with your issues for you to show up in a way that can be actually called a loving act. Okay? Now, the other thing is, we talked about trying to manage the other person's emotions. How you want to manage how the other person must feel, which is a difficult assignment, because you have to be a mind reader for you to know even what the other person is feeling. But trying to manage what they should feel is actually emotional abuse to them and to yourself. It's a difficult assignment because you're giving yourself a job that only God can do. How, you want to manage how they should feel. So you can never do anything that is right, because you first want to calculate how they should feel before you act. So before you act, you calculate. You go into a mathematics class. Yeah? You calculate how should he feel. And then you calculate the action. Number one, you're not truthful. You're not real. You're not real in that relationship. You guys are just faking it. Faking it to make it. That is not a real relationship. Okay? And it's a hard job. How do you manage to actually control how other people feel? It's impossible. You can never control how your parents will feel when you tell them the truth about how your views about some of the things that happen. You can't control how your spouse will feel when you tell them your views about some of the topics that you want to discuss. Don't try. Don't try this at home. Don't try it anywhere. Don't try to control what they feel. That's not your job. You're not Jesus Christ Jr. That is the work of God. How they feel is their relationship with God. It's none of your business. How they will feel after you discuss. And this is why people don't want to raise difficult issues, because they are more concerned about how their people will feel rather than just being truthful with themselves. And so you hold on information until one day you just walk out of a relationship and the other person is shocked because they never even knew you were going through stuff. They never even knew you had issues. So one day you just do some crazy thing. You just wake up and do some crazy thing that you never do in a normal circumstance. Hello, if you have something, communicate. Communicate. Learn to communicate even difficult, conversations. Now, what is the conclusion of all this? Number one, be true to yourself. Before even you're true to this relationship, be true. Be true, and then be true to this person you're relating to. Number two, step out in love, not in fear. When you step out in fear, you will not be in a position to tell the truth, because all the time you're calculating what should be said in what manner. And relationships don't work out that way. True relationship, you speak the truth even when it's challenging for you. And sometimes you tell your spouse or the person you're relating to that this is so hard for me, but I think I should say it. Sometimes you just tell your boss the same thing. This is so hard for me, but let me get it out of my chest. Can I get it out of my chest? Okay, so communicate. Communicate to the person you love. Okay, but then as a primary focus, if you're uncomfortable with something, the problem most of the time is inside you. Most of the time, God gives us people who are just like us. And so we are in relating to people that mirror us. So if you're relating to someone that is emotionally abusing you, to some extent, you yourself, you're emotionally abusive. Now that is the groundbreaking truth that most of us are not ready to accept, because we tell ourselves a lie that you're perfect. You let everyone that thinks they have no sin be the first one to throw a stone. Before you correct the other person, correct it within yourself, because relationships are mirrors. They mirror who you are and the parts of you that you've not dealt with. And so when it's true that the person is treating you and hurting you emotionally, but it's because you are emotionally wounded yourself that you got into this relationship in the first place. So don't just get out of the relationship and think that you're going to find a perfect person out there and relate with them and finally free, finally home. No, you're still carrying your baggage, and your next relationship will be just exactly like the previous one, because just like your ex, you are emotionally abusive. So instead of pointing fingers on each other, this is time to look within you and heal yourself, even before you bring it as an issue with your spouse. Heal yourself. Find some space and time to be reasonable, to have a board meeting with yourself and ask yourself, how did I get here? How come I've given this person the power and authority to treat me this way? Is it because that myself, to some extent, I am emotionally abusive. Which areas of my life? Go back, be truthful to yourself. Which areas of my life am I emotionally abusive? Because you may be, abused by someone, but you're abusing someone else, somewhere else, at your place of work, in another relationship where you have a higher position, a higher hand. If you're emotionally abusive, then why are you complaining that your spouse is emotionally abusive? When you deal with your issues, when you change, your world will change. When we change, our world automatically changes. So when you see there is trouble and problem in relationships around you, there's trouble in relationship within you. This is why we say everyone needs a coach, because some of these parts of ourselves are what we call blind spots. You can't see it. In fact, if I tell you this, some of you can't believe it because you know you're a perfect person. They are blind spots. You know you're perfect, and you know you're the victim. You're a victim of circumstances. Let me tell you, all of us are messed up. All of us have a blind spot. And when you're willing to deal with your blind spot, you're mature, you're ready for love and joy. This is your destiny. You are born for this. Thank you so much. Mary Kabura, powerful piece. Thank you so much. Rogers, once again, you are a product of your thoughts, your choices. Even in relationships, reflect your thoughts and choices. Wow. Thank you so much, my brother. That's so inspirational. Thank you, guys. Tell us where you're watching this from. God bless you. You deserve the best version of relationship. And by the way, don't say I've been married for 50 years. I've had couples that came to my coaching sessions and they've been married for 40 years. True story. 40 years of marriage. And I've never enjoyed it. It was dry 40. Can you imagine? It's like 40 years in the wilderness. These people are true representation of what the children of Israel went through. But anyway, after 40 years, they entered the promised land. So come on, it's never too late to get your breakthrough. Thank you. God bless. Stay strong and claim your breakthrough. Goodbye.